Welcome, everyone, to the SPL Waiting Room, your one-stop shop for all things SMITEPro League here in Season 8. My name's Gormizer, and we have a plenty fun show for you today. First off, this weekend, Charybdis is going to be available. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later with Miff and Dave when they join in on the show. We're also going to be talking a lot about this week's matchups because everything is starting to feel a little more pressure towards it. A lot of these teams, we're getting to the latter half of, at the point where almost everybody has faced everybody, and that's where things move forward into group stages. Those are going to be starting in just a few weeks. It'll be October 29th. And if you're wondering, so this is week 4, next week's week 5, then I believe there's a bye week for the SPL, and then we will be starting with the group stages, best of 5s. And remember that these group stages are determined by who is first seed and second seed after this round robin phase that we're in right now. So at the end of next week, we will know who is going to be choosing those groups, and then I would assume sometime in that week, we'll know what the groups are and how they get split up. That is going to be incredibly important because what this means for these teams moving forward is that you not only still have a chance to make a really big splash in the playoffs, especially some of these teams that maybe didn't get Phase 3 off to the start they wanted, but you have a good chance of finding that bye to the semis in Worlds a little bit later. That is the reward for getting top 2 at the Phase 3 playoffs. The rest of the teams do still get shuffled into what is going to be a big playoff bracket and things like that, which we'll get into. But the biggest thing is the fact that the Scarabs, the Valkyries, some of these teams that maybe have not been able to get off the start they wanted to early on will and can still make it, not just SWC, but up to the semifinals if they can shape up over the next month or so. And so a lot of pressure on them. We'll see how they're going to be able to do it in weeks 4 and weeks 5. We'll see if they can do well in their group stages as well to make sure that they can make it to the playoffs, which are going to be a little bit later. We're also going to be having, well, there it is, the playoffs that take place just afterward, those December 14th to what does that say? 19th? That's a long time to be able to play. That is also a long way away. Yeah, it's a big play for a lot of these teams. And, of course, we're also going to be seeing, I know there's the SCC playoffs that are going to be feeding this. Look, if you want to be able to get the full breakdown for it, just go read more at SMITEProLeague.com because that is where all of this information is coming from. It does feel like a lot. But admittedly, we laid it out a lot better than I did on the website. So go read that. That's definitely going to be very worthwhile if you're curious as to what the rest of the roadmap is for this year. Here's a look for what had occurred last week here in week number 3. If you had missed out on anything or if you were curious as to what was going on, of course, we have to give shout-outs to Paul and Cyclone for topping that KDA. If I remember correctly off the top of my head, Paul, still holds top. Well, I can't remember if that's a Fact Seat Gaming thing, so I'm not going to say anything about that. Yeah, no, they do really well, as it turns out. The Titans look really, really solid. Hopefully those two weren't listening. They were mumbling to each other. I've got Dave and I've got Miff. Hey. I almost potentially spoiled something. I can't remember my Fact Seat Gaming.
What did you say?
There's some stuff.
Okay, yeah, fine. Yeah.
I was paying attention. Miff was looking at me, so I think I know
how could I not
going
be,
on.
you know?
I can just double check it. Hey, good news. It actually isn't a question. Paul has the highest KDA in the league right now for Phase 3. There you go. So
Let's go.
That's a thing that I was thinking was a spoiler because I was going to make it a question and then I didn't make it a question. Anyway, we're going to be
being a fact, though.
Ended up being a fact anyway. Right. It made it on here one way or another. Brute force, baby. So we are going to be coming in and we are going to be looking at a new god this week.
Yep.
Neither of you play carry.
I've dabbled. I've started to dabble. So for a while, this is a total tangent, not related to the topic. I've played more carry recently.
Yeah.
Back to you, Gore.
Oh. I was excited for story time.
I don't want to get us too off track. I've started to play more carry in my games.
Well, builds have changed. Things have changed for a lot of these carries. So we're going to be talking about it. Charybdis is available for play starting this weekend. And the realest question I think that has to come up first for both of you is, are we going to see her? Does she get played?
You want to start?
I mean, I am the carry around
That's
here.
what I heard. That's why I'm letting you do it.
Oh, God. I don't know. That's such a hard question to answer. I feel like I've gotten such mixed reviews on Charybdis where we hear, at the round tables and the team sit-downs, things like that, no, we're not going to, right? But then you watch ranked games, you listen to streams, whatever it is, and she's just obnoxious to play against, I guess. And so I think there is some viability here. I know her third ability, the Whirlpool, is what a lot of people really latch onto with Charybdis. So I think there is a possibility, but I got to be honest, this is one of the most confused I've been about whether or not we're going to see a god in the SPL, because there's been just such mixed reviews from people, whether it's on the sit-downs or on streams or whatever it might be. I know there's been some range concerns with some of the abilities. And so I think we could. I think it's far from not likely. But I don't know if it's going to be a certainty.
Diplomatic.
That was a very political. Like, Dave, you're running for office here, and I believe in you. You know what? I vote for Dave Olson.
I'm the Aaron Burr of this segment. I'm not taking a stand one way or another. I'm not revealing which way I feel about it. I'm saying it's a possibility.
Well, I guess I got to take a more definitive stance, right?
Sure.
Someone on this desk has to. I think that Charybdis is in a unique position in that if you ask any singular Hunter player at the SEC SPL level, they'll say, I hate playing that god. I'm not allowed to auto-trade. My auto-attacks feel bad. I'm only fighting when my first ability's up. But if you actually read what her kit does, 40% protection shred. I mean, a straight-up disapparate from Soul that doesn't have a charge-up time. Auto-attack through an entire wave. All of these things add up to what would sound like an incredibly strong god.
Right.
I think the only limiting factor is that auto-attack chain. It just feels bad. If your first ability isn't up, you don't want to trade any singular Hunter inside the game. But if your first ability is up, well, maybe you do. It's way easier to land those autos because they're like all the size of a raw beam. But whether or not we're going to see that god, I don't think so. Maybe once we get a couple of buffs rolling through or some itemization changes. But as of right now, I think she's a little bit outshined.
Well, I know a lot of it, and Dave, you had kind of touched on this, but a lot of the discussion has been, okay, well, this ability all feel like they have short range, but her 3 is sick.
So sick.
Like,
really
this is great. Hey, you could just, what is it, damage immune, CC immune? Like, you're perfect.
Knock-up,
Like,
knock-up.
movement speed.
is that
You deal damage.
in and of itself, also it looks really cool, is it in and of itself enough to make her jump to the top? I mean, or is it just specific comps? Like, I feel like if there's an Ares, I probably want to lock this in, but otherwise...
No, that's a good point, Gore. That's a great point. Yeah, I think it becomes a comp-specific style of pick. I think Ares is actually a great example there. You're about to get Ares chained, you drop on down, and suddenly you're not getting pulled through quite as easily. I think the 3 is awesome. It has a lot of utility. I mean, it does a little bit of everything, right? I mean, you deal damage, you get the knock-up, CC immunity. I mean, it's an Aegis where you can still move and deal damage for 3 seconds.
That
right?
sounds good.
That sounds fine to me. And so I do think, I mean, if there is viability with this pick, I think it is through that third ability. But I like the way you word that. I think maybe a little more matchup specific.
A little more. And that's I guess leads into what for me is the next question, probably the last question. Miff, you touched on this saying that you can't really auto trade. Like, how do you beat her? Do you just fight?
Well, if you're playing a pretty aggressive god, jump on her. If you're playing on her, use Disperse. Close that gap. If you're playing Wolf, toss an axe at her. I mean, you just want to put out as much damage as possible because generally, I mean, she can't really put out that much poke. You kind of alluded to it earlier. The lack of range on some of these abilities really does come back to haunt her. Her second ability has great stats on it. It's one of your best damage output abilities. It has Protection Shred. It's also essentially a melee ability. It essentially has the exact same range as Vamana's 2. That's not great for a Hunter. You're not able to utilize that inside of these auto-attack trades unless you're legitimately already winning the trade. If you're barrel stuffing, if you're ahead, she feels pretty all right.
I want to see Charybdis and Scylla in a comp where they're just both resetting. I guess, although
You're
one
tier
of them
1.
will get to
I just
reset.
want to throw it out there. Like, while the abilities are widely different, player models are going to maybe get confusing in the middle of a fight there.
Yeah, that would be a little chaotic, wouldn't it? I don't know.
How often are you looking at Scylla's player model? You see Crush, that's all you need to know,
Right,
right?
all I see is a big old spinny circle.
Look, there's damage, baby.
Or
That's
she's a monster. That's nice.
Or she's a monster.
Yeah, that's easy.
Are these two related? Are those two
Yes.
related?
Yeah,
somehow?
Scylla and Charybdis
Right,
is
they're
the
like-
the origin of Rock in a Hard
Got
Place
it,
because
okay.
you had to go between one eats ships, the other plucks them off ships.
Really?
Yeah.
You never read Percy Jackson growing up?
Come on, man.
No.
That was in the second book, man.
Yeah.
That's on me. Don't
Never
worry.
read
Percy
the
Jackson,
Iliad or
see
the
him
Odyssey?
Right.
They go to get the
All
golden
right.
You know how to
fleece.
read, bro.
All right. I don't. So because I haven't. All right. We have a segment to get to.
How much further did you get in Lord of the Rings in the last? How long ago was that?
What do you think?
3
What do you
weeks?
think the answer is? I haven't. It's 0. I've read 0 pages.
I will look.
By choice, not because I can't.
Okay, sure.
I love those books. They are very dense. He is
They
very,
are.
very descriptive.
I'm taking my time.
It's 7 pages describing the green grasses. of the
Wait, hold
Shire,
on.
So that's not your
And
fault.
why read 7 pages reading that? First off, also don't read the Silmarillion because it's like
Whoa.
it's a Bible, dude.
Yeah.
It's the Bible for that world.
What's
you
wrong
can't
with
even
that?
make it through the books.
Well, that's because he can't read.
All right. Just watch the movies. That's what I was going to say. They're really good.
Yeah, Elijah Wood does a great job.
He does do a good job. Anyway, we'll move on to Fact Seat Gaming
I'm not
and ask some
participating.
questions. Yeah, Dave is very, very actively
am-
not participating here. And
No,
we'll ask
in
the
Backseat Gaming. I'm
Oh.
not-
Oh, no.
out of contempt.
out of contempt. Oh well. Well, hey Myth, here's some questions for you then. For Phase 3, which gods have had a 100% win rate when first picked?
Oh.
You can answer any of the 4. And there's a hint.
What does
for
that
you.
say at the bottom? I don't know what it.
I thought there
can't
was going
read
to be
it.
a choice of 4. All right, Capri.
Which gods have a 100% win rate when first picked?
Yeah, so they get first picked
Oh
in the
my
lobby.
God.
They have a 100%
Yeah,
win rate
God,
from
Capri's
that,
a good
that spot.
answer.
Yeah, don't use it. I took it already.
When first picked, 100% win rate.
Yeah, think hard.
Oh, I'm panicking.
He's going to say
Uller.
Ardio. Watch this.
Uller. Both of those are wrong, as it turns out. So nobody. I said nobody gets a point. It's like it's Mondays. No, yeah, Yamoja, Raijin, Cerberus, and Odin all have a
Raijin.
100% win
Raijin,
rate
really?
when they are first picked. Fun fact: Sylvanas, when he's first picked, has a 0% win rate. So don't be first picking your Sylvanas
I
right
will
now.
That's just the Scarabs, right? That's first picking Sylvanas? Oh, don't
Okay,
fact
look,
don't
hold on.
fact
I
check
didn't-
me on
I-
Fact Seat Gaming.
No,
bro.
I didn't actually check that part. I
Don't
know who
fact
did.
check it, just respect it, bro.
Okay, just respect it. Let's see.
Well,
No,
you're doing
the Kings
opposite.
did it once. The Kings
okay.
did it once. So it's
All
not just the Scarabs.
Okay.
So there you go. Question number 2, Phase 3.
Oh, for
Who
one,
is the most banned god against the Jade Dragons?
Ooh. Who do I not want any of them to play? A whole lot of people.
Maybe Mike's. It's got to be a Mike, right? Well, oh, man, can we do Phase 1 instead? Yannis.
Yeah,
That's a whole year.
I don't want Sam playing a lot of things either.
I'm gonna just steal his. No, I won't. I'm gonna go
No,
off of
but
him.
then fine, okay. I don't want him to play anything.
But what's
Odin.
getting banned? Odin?
Odin?
I'll go Ardio.
You're going Ardio? Both those are wrong. As it turns out.
Come on.
We're gonna
It's
find one,
Hunbats.
bud. We'll get one.
We'll get one.
Hunbats has been banned against them 6 times so far here in Phase
That
3.
makes
It has the
sense.
most
Sam
bans against them. All right, last one. Which team, got the most first bloods last week?
Titans. Although
they-
they only
they
played
do
one.
be winning.
How many?
They
how many
do
games,
be winning.
I don't know how many games they played. I guess that's the problem. It's 3-game set. Scarabs.
Myth?
Titans.
Titans. Hey, guess what? Both of those are wrong. It was the Valkyries. They got 4 first
Let's
bloods last
go.
week. Johnny was putting in work
Let's go.
early on. Yeah, he was able to pick it up. Now, I will say, in Phase 3, oh, man, I need to keep these much more readily available. They have 6 total first bloods, so they got most of their first bloods last week. Ducky
Wow.
has the most on their team with 3, so
Who
he
got
was
that?
actually putting a lot of
Who
work
else?
into it. And then now it's time for that bonus fact, the one that I don't actually know what it is.
All right,
Now all
fellas,
3 of us
as,
are gonna
as,
be wrong.
as a group.
Collectively,
Okay.
We need
2
one.
people are tied for the most first bloods this season. Who are they? I should
Getting
know
Layers.
this.
first bloods?
Layers. Easy layers. Is that counting playoffs? Wait, this is
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
season.
it says whole
layers.
season.
Wait, no, he was on the.
Probably.
He
Most
was on the
first
Scarabs
bloods.
for a long time.
Sam. I'm going to say Sam. No, wait.
If it were just this phase, layers. But I think Sam's probably not. No, it's
Lasbra.
got to be a support, right?
I was gonna say Lasbra. I was gonna say a sneaky Lasbra.
Yeah.
I think somebody on the bolts. I think somebody on the bolts is Lasbra.
I'll go inbound.
Inbound?
Yeah, I'll go inbound.
This has got most first blood. Just throwing it out there.
Leave Bobby alone, bro.
I did that. I'm sorry. I did that on Monday,
He's
too.
catching so many strays.
Well, Miff. I mean, you literally teed that up.
Okay,
I mean, there
you're
is-
right. That's on me.
There is. I mean, you. That is our job.
I
If
feel
that is-
so
if that is
bad
sitting
that
on
that
a-
stat is accurate, though.
If that is sitting on a plate in front of me, and I don't swing at it. Fire me.
Why are you swinging at plates, bro?
I don't know.
It was T-ball or
T-ball,
something.
right, yeah, it was over
anyway,
the
I
plate.
said Lasbra. He said Lasbra. He said inbound.
Come
what's
on,
the
Two
answer?
Lasbras?
Yes.
Hey, I said Lasbra and Sam.
Let's
That makes me
go.
happy.
No,
Look.
I said that too.
Wait, who do you say? You said it.
I
You
said
said it.
Lasbra.
Panatom is 1 away
Myth is over.
from the first
Shut up.
blood
Do we have any more facts?
3-way tie. Yeah, Panatom is 1 first blood away
I
from
was
being the
gonna
3-way
say
tie.
that.
You were going to say that exactly?
That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say.
You're like, man, Panatom's just 1 away. I am wondering, how many triple doubles have we gotten this year? I don't think any. We'll have to keep track of that. That's a completely different stat. Instead, we can move forward now to look at week number 4,
Yes,
which is
please.
going to be coming up pretty soon here. In fact, it's a
Ow!
little bit over, 11 minutes, actually, as it turns out. 1 p.m. is when the Kings will start taking on the Dragons later today, Leviathans,
week.
and the Warriors. Tomorrow, I
Stacked.
believe, is once again all in studio. Dragons,
Oh.
Titans, and Bolts, Scarabs. And I believe Leviathans, Titans on Sunday will close us out in the studio as well, making things very interesting. Of course, this is still the latter half, the last few teams have to face each other for this round robin phase. In fact, I believe this is the last full 3-day week for phase 3. Next week
Wait, what?
is just Saturday and Sunday because we are at the very end.
That's man.
Myth
That is wild. And Gore, and I don't
Myth's
wanna-
excited. He's
I don't
happy
want to cut you
now.
off here, Gore. I'm very excited because so many. I don't want to, but I'm going to. The top 5 teams in the league are all so closely knit with one another right now. I mean, the chase for
Wait,
that.
look at that.
The
Holy.
chase for the top 2, it feels wide open right now. I mean, on any given week, any of these teams can shift up or down. The Leviathans playing like I think the best team in the league right now. But look at the Kings and the Dragons. One of those teams is going to be up there with the Leviathans as far as wins go. It's important to look at the difference. The Leviathans have played one less game than both the Kings and the Bolts, so they've got an extra one to go, and those sorts of things can come into play here as well. But the top 5 teams, all being within 1 or 0 games of one another, everyone tied effectively for that second seed spot, is wild. We're going to have some important games down the pipeline here.
And remember, the top 2 is the key for this, just to choose group stages, right? It's a really weird thing where these standings matter a whole ton, and then they don't, right? It's like the minute the group stages are determined, you can go ahead and toss them out. Let's go ahead and look at the predictions. Wow, this is the most scattered it has ever been. Yeah, I chose a cheeky scarabs later in the week for funsies.
Who am I with here?
You got Kings over Dragons, and there's a split between Titans and Dragons.
Does anyone have
on
the same
Saturday.
predictions? J-Mac and I do.
Yeah, chair 1.
That's
You guys
it?
got chair 1 brains.
Only J-Mac and I agree across the week. Yeah, I think the Dragons are poised for a big week this week. I don't know. I was on APAM's podcast, and there was something about it. Something about the Dragons this week give me some confidence. Watch them go 0-2 now. No, but I think that this team is poised to really start hitting their stride at the right time of year. And so I think I think they're both 3-game sets. I think both Kings, Dragons, and Dragons, Titans go all 3 games. But I think after a loss in one of those sets, the Dragons tighten up, and I think they go 2-0 on the weekend.
You know, it kind of interests me,
Oh,
and
no.
I want to look at this.
Oh, snap!
Oh, that's
Look
not
at
bad.
that.
All right, I'll take that.
Aggro sitting in the 80s.
Wait, but I agree with J-Mac this week. That's bad news for me. My predictions, they're going to nosedive.
No, you'll be just look, J-Max. He's on the rise, okay?
He is, right. Well, right. Actually, he's happy that he agrees with me, who's firmly in second place, tied with Myth and Hindu Man. I'm in some good company there. How about that, Myth?
How does Aggro have 83%? He must have got like 1 more right than me. Like that, it's got to be like 1 separating us.
I have no idea how the math works, so yeah, sure, it's just 1. Look, there's a certain number of sets, there's a certain number he's gotten right, and a certain number he's gotten wrong.
That scumbag took this week off so he could study and figure out what's going on. He just has more time to think. He's been doing it longer. It's not fair.
I don't. No, I guess I did the last time he was on, but like watching the prediction podcast with him and Barra, the last time he took a weekend off, they started it and he said, "Yeah, so I didn't watch any SPL this week. I have no clue what happened." He got the set scores from the Reddit threads and was just like trying to figure out. He was piecing it together because guess what? It turns out Barra also didn't watch that much. He knew his sets. And
Look,
it was an interesting
And they have a
podcast
podcast?
episode. Yeah,
It is-
about Smite.
It is important. You got to take breaks every once in a while. You got to step away, take a deep breath.
I've taken 3 days off since I've started here.
Right. You need to take more.
No.
Wait,
Step
I'm
back,
ride or
take a deep
die
breath.
with the SPL.
I'm going to defend Myth here. There hasn't been a whole lot to do in the last 2
Yeah, I haven't
years.
had reasons to
Okay.
take time off.
Look, wait, I'm saying the same thing. I haven't taken a lot of time off because what am I going to do? Sit at home?
I could
Can't
have
fly.
taken time off.
If I took this weekend off, you know what I'm doing? I'm sitting at home watching the SPL.
That's not bad. That's what everybody at
I could
home's
sit
doing
here
right
and
now.
get paid to watch the SPL without having to take time
That's
off.
true.
Oh, fair enough.
And we get to hang together today. Him and I get to chill, and I get paid to hang with Gore. I'm not taking time off for that.
Are you guys just flexing on me? I get to pay
Oh,
on
yeah.
J-Mac. Wait, do that.
Hey, I gotta close this out.
Oh, yeah.
We got like
I hate this.
5 minutes until the SPL starts. Go ahead, grab drinks, snacks. It's going to be coming up next. We're going to kick it off with the Kings and the Dragons. Make sure you tune in at 1 p.m. We'll be right back.